Hello, first of all, I want to thank you for purchasing this tool that you have just acquired in my Etsy store. Let me introduce myself. I am Miguel Ángel Riesgo, the founder of the company No Code B2B. We are dedicated to the development of no-code applications, which means that we design, develop, and implement tools and systems without a single line of code, using applications in which we are certified. We also carry out process automation for companies. I want to tell you that this tool has been designed by sales experts with more than 20 years in the commercial area, working for different companies and managing sales teams and improving all their sales processes. This template, although I prefer to call it a business tool, allows the management of commercial opportunities generated in a company by a sales team so that you can automatically obtain all the necessary information to understand the status of all your sales opportunities, and not only that, but also the performance of the salespeople. And all this through some of the most relevant KPIs in any sales team. This tool improves or enables better decision maker, both for salespeople and team managers, sales directors, startup founders, for example. Let me remind you what is included in the purchase you just made. On the one hand, the video you are watching, a tutorial with a certain level of detail so that you can understand how this spreadsheet works and optimize its use to help you achieve your goal. There is also a user manual where you can see the detailed explanation of each of the tabs, explanation of the fields, etc. And of course, this spreadsheet. Let's start with the general. And for that, let me first explain what the content of each of the tabs is. The screen you are seeing is the dashboard. Let's say it is the sales and opportunity tracking dashboard where you can understand, analyze, and see to what extent you can improve your decision making thanks to all this information that is collected and visualized with different buttons and graphs. On the other hand, we have the Input Data tab, which becomes the main entry panel where you or your sales team will record all existing opportunities. Here, you can get a relevant detail of the status of the opportunities by applying different filters. And this last screen contains two tables that will allow you to configure some values that apply to your particular sales process. So, what would be the general process you should follow to start using this tool? The first thing you have to do is initially configure your entire sales process, or at least part of it, by modifying these two tables. We have two tables, the salespeople and the types of sales. Update these two tables with the necessary values. You can position yourself in the last row, and with the tab key you can add another name that corresponds to a salesperson on your team. Or you can even delete a row from the table. In this way, you will have already registered all those salespeople who can be owners of each opportunity. And then we have the type of sales. Here, you will have to adjust the values to your business model. Change it as I previously said. Now you are ready to start recording your sales opportunities. In total, each opportunity involves the introduction of a maximum of 14 fields, some of them mandatory. Additionally, there are numerous fields that are automatically updated without your intervention through various calculations that take into account the information previously entered. You will see that in your template we have already left a series of fictitious opportunities, as we explained in the user manual. To preserve the integrity of the tool, the deletion of opportunities in this table is disabled. Therefore, start by modifying these opportunities or writing them with your values. A crucial point that we must understand and apply is that to insert new opportunities, it is mandatory to use the button you see at the bottom. It is not a whim. It is simply that this action activates a macro that updates some fields, such as the creation date of the opportunity. Let's make an example. As simple as that. From there, the system shows you the necessary fields to complete the details. You will see that the mandatory fields appear highlighted in pink as long as they have not been completed. If any of these fields are not registered, it may affect the correct visualization of the information on the dashboard. Let me guide you through the process of generating a new opportunity. We select the salesperson with a drop-down that collects the data you have configured in your customer table. We write the name of the opportunity. We could select two different values based on our experience in commercial processes in different companies, which is both new business and existing business. Two types of customers that I understand have, if not all, practically all companies, and we believe it is very necessary to add them to the process to see the evolution of both hunting and farming. For example, new. We select one of the values you have registered in your sales type table. For instance, training. As you could see, the creation date of the opportunity is generated automatically. Here, you don't have to enter any value. We have here the opportunity status. We have defined what, according to our criteria and experience, becomes a best practice. We consider different statuses that range from the initial phase, which is prospecting, through qualification, proposal to be sent, negotiation, verbal confirmation or approval by the customer, and finally the transition of an opportunity to won or lost. You have the details in the user manual. We are going to select, for instance, approved. We have the date on which this opportunity was won. This is also a field that is generated automatically when we change the status to won. Do you see? The date is updated automatically. And if for any reason you want to change the opportunity back to open, this won date is deleted. Like in any real opportunity, it is necessary to record what the expected closing date is. And we do this through drop-downs for the day, month, and year to facilitate data entry. For instance, and we come to the most numerical part. Here we reflect the amount for which the salesperson estimates they will be able to close the sales opportunity once won. For instance, and like any sales opportunity, there is always a point of uncertainty about what will finally happen. And the opportunity also evolves as we define the scope with this customer. Therefore, we have a closing probability and a weighted amount. These two fields are also generated automatically. The weighted amount is the total amount previously established multiplied by the closing probability. Each status carries a certain closing probability. You can see the values in the user manual. If we change the status of the opportunity to other status, both the probability and the corresponding weighted amount are automatically updated. For instance, we are going to choose negotiation. So you see that the closing probability and of course the weighted amount is changed accordingly. Now it comes the rest of the data that identify the customer company or potential customer, the company name, a contact person, the contact's email, a contact phone number, and the necessary observations or comments coming from the salesperson, owner of the opportunity. If we want to filter the opportunities, we can use the same tab. Although to avoid mixing data entry with information visualization through filters, our suggestion is to use the opportunity filter tab that does the same job, although in a more compact way and with the most relevant data. This screen is an extract of all the information previously entered in the Input tab. To display the desired opportunities, you need to filter the information using one or more of the 6 filters on the left side of the screen. If you don't select any value, the message "there is no data" appears, which means that no filter has been selected or even that the search performed has not selected any opportunity. If we select one sales rep, for instance, Cora, we can see the result of the query. We can continue refining the query using all the filters we want. For example, if we select the new customer type, it will show us which opportunities correspond to the 2 filters applied so far. And so on. We see that in this case, the KPIs of this new result have changed compared to the previously selected filter. We have the pipeline age, that is the open operations excluding won or lost, the number of open opportunities, the total, and the weighted forecast. If you notice, there are also operations that can be both in won and lost status. Of them, currently we don't show any KPIs on this screen. And finally, we have what is probably one of the most important sheets, which is the sales and forecast dashboard. Here, all the information previously collected in the Data Record tab is shown. On the side of the screen, you have 3 filters: by sales rep, by customer, and by sales type. The values are blue by default. When you hover over them, they are highlighted in yellow, as you can see. When you select one of them, it remains highlighted in blue, and the rest of the values of the same filter are left in white. If you want to select more than one value in the same filter, first you have to select one of them, as you can see in the screen, then click on the multiple selection, and then select the value you want to add to the filter. For instance, Cora Thomas. You see that every time we select filters, all the KPIs both in the upper area and the graphs in the central area are updated accordingly to the data entered in the opportunities. And at the top, you have an additional filter that allows you to select the stage in which you want to make a detailed analysis of your opportunities. I want to mention a relevant point of this screen. All the data entered as opportunities are not automatically updated on the dashboard, but it is necessary to refresh the information using the Update button at the top. With a single click, you will have all the updated information. The reasons we decided not to automatically update the information is that it could consume a lot of resources, and we want an efficient tool in this regard. Let's click on Update. You can see there is some change in the data. Let's deselect the multi-select and delete the filters. So we can back to the initial scenario. Now we enter the description of the data on the screen that will allow you to analyze the status of your sales and sales opportunities. At the top, you have different KPIs that we consider essential for the management of any sales team. We have the total forecast, that is the total amount that corresponds to all those opportunities that are open. The weighted forecast, which as I mentioned earlier, is the result of applying the closing probability to the total forecast. An important point is that these KPIs always refer to the pipeline, that is, to the open opportunities that are still being dealt with customers, which excludes both won and lost opportunities. You can also see the total amount of the total amount of won opportunities, the lost amount, and the amount of all those commercial opportunities that have been approved. We consider it as the verbal approval given by a customer. You also see the age of the opportunities that are currently open in the pipeline expressed in days. We also tell you the number of opportunities that are currently open within the sales team and what the sales cycle is. That is the average number of days between the creation of opportunities and their winning date. In the central part, you have different charts. We show you what the total forecast of the sales team is, distributed by each salesperson. Remember, we are talking about the forecast, so the pipeline is considered. In this graph, you have the opportunities won by each salesperson. Note that both the breakdown of the forecast and the won opportunities match the total display in the KPIs in the upper area. We also show you the offers created by the sales team, which is a sign that shows the general health in the generation of new opportunities. That is, the pace that is maintained. There you can see by creation date, including years and months, all the opportunities that have been created by each of the sales guys. We also have the sales funnel distributed in two different charts. On the one hand, we show the amount in each of the stages in which the opportunities are. And on the other, we could see the number of opportunities in each status. We also see a very interesting chart for the company to measure what the existing pipeline is both in new customers and in existing customers. The amounts are expressed in thousands and therefore rounded. We do this so that there is no mismatch in the visibility of the labels and charts. And finally, you have a chart that allows you to know what the updated ranking of your best salespeople is, or at least those salespeople who have sold the most. We only saw the top 3 salespeople by one amount, that is, operations successfully closed. You see that on the screen, if no filter is applied, it shows the global information of the entire team. Let's see an example by applying some filters. We select a salesperson, and we see that all the information is dynamically updated. And as I pointed out a moment ago, we can select several values from the same filter. This can make sense if we want to make some comparison between salespeople or show the info of a specific team. Now, all of the information that appears on the screen is the aggregation of these two salespeople, both Anna and Cora. Therefore, all the KPIs that appear in the upper area as well as the charts affects and relate exclusively to these two people selected in the filter. There we can make comparisons in terms of the forecast and one-offs. To give an example, and that's all. Let me remind you that in the user's manual that you will find within the files you have downloaded, you can find a detailed explanation that can complement this tutorial. I want to thank you again for the purchase you have made. Remember that if you want a personalized development or have any comments or issues, don't hesitate to write to us at the mail provided in the user manual. We are in touch. See you soon.